an introduction to Cayenne IoT Project Builder. It's a free project builder. You guys can download it for free, use it for free. We work with all the popular microcontrollers, single board computers, Arduino, ESP8266, Raspberry Pi. We love all those guys. They love us. So if you're around, go ahead and come on in, stop by, and I'll give you a quick tour. Thanks. So to start out, I did just want to give a quick overview of who we are at myDevices. And really our vision and our goal in this IoT space is to simplify the connected world. I did just want to touch on LoRa technology. We have the arguably the only, if not the best, LoRa project builder, the LoRa solution on the market today. LoRa is a pretty cool technology. It stands for long range, and you're able to put a gateway on the top of a very large, for instance, building or mountain, and you can connect thousands of devices through that single gateway. And these devices live for years, they're battery powered, it's really cool. I don't want to get into that right now though. At myDevices, we really saw an opportunity. IoT solution development and sales cycles are took too long, and they are too complex to actually move quickly. So that's where we came up with Cayenne. And that's what I'm here to show you today. Cayenne is like an easy to use website builder, but for IoT projects. If you guys have used Weebly, Wix, Squarespace, those are those easy to use website builders where you don't need to know how to code, you don't need to be a web developer or web designer, but you can very quickly and easily get a website going without all that knowledge. And that's kind of what we strive to aim to do for IoT. Cayenne is what the market, meaning makers, developers, engineers, use to start building IoT solutions, prototypes, projects, home automation projects. And the proof is kind of in the pudding, to use something my mom would say. We have over 210,000 people, developers, makers, who have signed up to use our project builder, and they're making projects every day. I like to bring up this graph because it at least shows that little old myDevices, we're a startup, but we're competing with some of the largest enterprises out there. ThingWorx, you're looking at Cisco's Jively. The website traffic coming to myDevices.com is, we get more traffic than all of those big name companies. And that's because 210,000 developers are using our product. So what makes us unique is we have a complete IoT ecosystem. Any board, any piece of hardware can be connected inside Cayenne. We're the leader in the LoRa space. Semtech, who actually invented LoRa technology, invested in us. They're 100% behind us in what we're doing. Devices, devices, devices. We have a pretty cool program where any hardware manufacturer can bring their device and make it, bring it as a supported device in our ecosystem or in our library. And those slides are boring. So our community of developers love Cayenne. We have a 4.5 star rating on the App Store, which is very hard to do. It means you have a good app, I'll tell you that much. And the press loves us. There's just some big names in there. What I wanted to get into now is I wanted to show you guys how easy it is to get things online and working. So just to give you an overview, this is a AT&T Wi-Fi puck. So this is my internet for this demo. There's been a slew of internet issues throughout this entire conference, so if anything doesn't work, blame it on Faire. So this is the internet for this demo. And I have an Arduino here that is connected to a 9-volt battery. There's a breadboard with a potentiometer, which is just gonna help us display some data, and an LED. So what I've already done is I've already added my Arduino to my Cayenne account. So you can see it's online right here. And I want to read data from this potentiometer that's here. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to Cayenne's add device process. We're gonna add a new device or widget. And I happen to know that this is a sensor, and it's a generic sensor. Oops, excuse me. A generic sensor, and it's gonna give an analog input. So I'm gonna select analog input. I'm gonna select the device that that sensor's connected to. It's my Arduino Uno. We know that it's analog, so I'm going to select the analog data type. And I connected it to the analog pin 0 on the Arduino. So that's the analog pin that I'm going to use. I'm going to choose whatever widget I want. I'll just choose a gauge, and then I'm going to add the sensor. So now we're going to wait for the sensor to actually, click add, populate our dashboard. And let's pray that the internet is actually working. So now if I go and move this, turn it, you should see that value also change in value. So now it's at 0. If I turn it the other way a little bit, you'll see it change again. So it's really fun and really cool to see that real-time data feedback off of a physical sensor that you're playing with. Within each widget, where's my mouse? Who sees my mouse? There it is. Each widget also has the ability to customize the settings. So that's what I'm going into right now. So if I wanted to make it so that, at anything below 402 is green, I could make it show like that. I'm not going to do that right now, but it's definitely worth mentioning because it's really easy to visualize the data. What I want to do next is I want to add a widget to control that LED. So the LED, I've wired it up, and I know it's connected to my digital pin 6 on my Arduino. So I'm going to go back to my add device process, add a new device or widget. I know it's an actuator because I turn it on or I turn it off, so I'll go to the actuators. And I'll pick a light because it's an LED. So I'll pick a light switch. We can leave it named light switch. I know it's on my Arduino Uno. This is probably going to look a little bit familiar. It's digital. The pin, as we said earlier, is pin 6. And now I'll choose icon. Let's choose an Arduino icon. And I'll add that sensor to my dashboard. So there it is. If we press it, it should turn the LED on, which it does. Hopefully you guys can see that. And I can turn it off. Now, it is worth mentioning that everything that I've done and just set up here is accessible on mobile apps. So Android devices, iOS, whatever you have, you can actually turn things on and off and monitor your devices from whatever mobile app you're using. Let's see if I can do it right now. There, so now I'm turning it on, I'm turning it off, all through the mobile app. I set it up in the web, and I can now go about my business. Maybe I'm at my house, and I can now control everything through my phone. But Cayenne does so much more than just visualize data. It actually can take the data that's streaming in, process it, and make smart decisions based off the data that's coming in. So now we can start to do triggers and alerts. So let's say the temperature in my house goes below a certain threshold. Well, if that happens, then I want to turn on the heater or turn on the air conditioning. So let's do a little trigger right now. I'm going to go back to my add new, and I'm going to select trigger. I'm going to drag my device. So we're using our Arduino Uno. And I'm going to select something that's connected to the Uno. And if you remember, this particular sensor here, we added it as an analog input. So that's what I'm going to select the trigger to go off of. And I'm going to say if the trigger goes above 512, then I can either send a text message to myself, or I can cause some other action to happen. For the purposes of this demo, I'm going to use the same device so that we can see it and see that it actually works. But what really makes Cayenne powerful is it doesn't have to be the same device. It can be a device across the world. It can be a device that isn't even on Wi-Fi. So it really doesn't matter where that device is or how it's speaking, LoRa, satellite, any type of protocol that it's going through. We can make those devices talk to each other. So let's pick the light switch that we just added. And I'll save that trigger. Okay, it's saved. go back to my Arduino Uno. So we know it's at 402. The trigger should fire if it goes above 512, and make sure you watch the LED because you're going to see how fast it happens. It actually goes all the way up to our cloud, and then it's going to travel back down all through this device. So when you think about it, it's pretty cool to see the actual speed that this trigger is going to fire at. We've spent 4 years developing this technology. So let's make it go above. Nope, that made it go low. Turn it the other way. Right when it goes above 500, and there, you see the light turn on. That's how easy it is to start getting these sensors, actuators that you have added to your account and start creating cool projects. I want to stop with that specific example, and I want to show you guys a few other projects that people have made in the community. And these are people just like all of you that I see here in the crowd. I see students, I see makers and engineers. These are the same guys who are creating cool projects. So I've gone into our community. It's very, very popular. We have a lot of people who are creating projects, asking for help, and doing some cool things. This particular project right here, which is an IoT aquarium, we just ran a IoT home automation contest in partnership with Arduino. Arduino is the booth that's right over here. You can go check out the project. The winner's actually displayed over there if you want to talk to him. But he made a really cool IoT aquarium. And I'm gonna find my mouse. And he used Cayenne and Arduino and some other devices to actually monitor different aspects of his aquarium. Here's some of the code that he used. So what's nice about the supportive community that we have is everyone shares their code. So if you need help or you can't get connected, simply post on the community, someone will help you and get you online and get your project working. So there's his code, some of the things that is connected, and now you're starting to see his Cayenne dashboard. So you can see that he has the base temperature of his aquarium, he has if his fish are eating or not, the temperature outside his aquarium. He's using our scheduling feature to actually feed the fish at certain times of the day. And here's some of his, I like to say, devices in the wild. Let's go to one more project, and then I'll just take a few questions if you guys are curious. Here is a user. This particular user is from Bulgaria. We have a very global audience everywhere in the world. I'm talking to people who are using Cayenne, creating cool things. So he's actually using Cayenne to grow vegetables that he eats in his home. He lives in an apartment, and he doesn't have space for a garden, so he's built like a cabinet, and he automatically waters his plants using Cayenne and a few other devices. So here's some of the triggers that he's using to turn on the water if the soil moisture goes below a certain threshold. He's using scheduling to water the plants every day. Some of his dashboard screenshots here. And his photos of the project are actually pretty cool. You can see that he uses his Cayenne dashboard right there. It's actually mounted onto his vertical farm cabinet. Here's some more pictures of his hardware. There's a good picture to see it sort of in full action. You can see it really is a cabinet, and he just has plants and the Cayenne dashboard there. And what's pretty cool is there's users and people who are now following up and saying, how'd you do that? That's a really cool project, things like that. So what he did, I think a few days ago, is he actually uploaded a time lapse because he's using a Raspberry Pi, and he's actually filming these plants growing as they grow for, I think it was a period of 10 days. So that was kind of cool to see. So here's a time lapse of some of his plants growing. Oh, that wasn't the time lapse. Here it is. So he's running Cayenne on his Raspberry Pi, but his Raspberry Pi is also taking this time-lapse video, which is cool. And you can see the plants starting to grow. I think this is only over a period of 8 days. Cayenne is free to use, and we really just want you guys to use it, build projects with it. I am going to be launching a new initiative called Cayenne for Education, so we're going to be hitting the educational sector If you happen to be a teacher or you run a makerspace or you're part of a makerspace, please come up and talk to me because I'm really interested to hear how we're able to support what you guys are doing in your schools. We do have a booth. It's booth 2434. That means nothing to anyone here. It's behind the Arduino booth. It's right over there. So come check us out. We have some cool demos. We have free swag. I think I brought some here, guys. Take some stickers. We have handouts as well for you. And we really just want you guys to use our stuff and submit projects. We love seeing what you guys are making. Thanks for your time. Thanks for listening. If there's any questions, I'm around the whole trip. Thank you.